welcome to Behind the Music. Today we are focusing on another musical legend, Gustav Mahler. This Austrian composer wrote many memorable grand-scale pieces of music, and perhaps one of the all-time favorites is his Das Lied van der Erde, which in English is The Song of the Earth. Today we will discover this piece and the history behind this legendary composition. The Song of the Earth was written between 1908 and 1909. The piece calls for a large-scale orchestra with two singers, tenor and alto, alternating singing between the 6 songs. Mahler had used voice in his earlier symphonies, but this was the first composition he used the song cycle form with the symphony, which invented a new term called a song symphony. Composers such as Shostakovich will later use this form in their works. There was a superstition in the music community called the Curse of the Ninth, which was that no major composer since Beethoven had successfully completed more than 9 symphonies before their death. At this time, Mahler had written 8 symphonies, and so to avoid this curse, he didn't title this as a symphony, but just with the subtitle, A Symphony for Tenor, Alto, Voice, and Orchestra. Later on, he did write his 9th symphony, and that was actually the last symphony he completed, as he died before ever completing his 10th symphony. The summer of 1907 was a particularly hard time for Mahler. His daughter Maria died from scarlet fever, he himself had been diagnosed with a congenital heart defect, and with anti-Semitism happening in Vienna, he was forced to resign as director of the Vienna Court Opera. With this new health condition and change of employment, Mahler had to change many aspects in his lifestyle, which brought him a lot of despair. He had written to a friend of his, "With one story, I have lost everything I have gained in terms of who I thought I was and have to learn my first steps again like a newborn." But Mahler begins to pick up the pieces in his new life as he writes again to his friend in 1909, "I have been going through so many experiences for the last year and a half that I can hardly discuss them. How should I describe such a colossal crisis? Yet I am thirstier than ever for life, and I find the habit of living sweeter than ever." The text used for the song cycle is from a recent German publication called The Chinese Flute by Hans Böthge. These translated Chinese poems had many references to the beauty of the earth, nature, and transcendence. Mahler was very inspired by these works and set 7 of the poems to the text to his Song of the Earth. Because of the poems being Chinese, Mahler tries to paint an Asian scene in some moments in the piece by the use of pentatonic scales, as we hear in this song. There is a clear message throughout this composition that Mahler is trying to convey the earth will continue on long after death. Many of the songs focus on earthly delights and past memories until we reach the most famous of his songs, which is the last song, called Der Abschied, or The Farewell. This last song is as long as the other songs combined, and as the title suggests, is about taking leave. Perhaps this is Mahler trying to come to terms with his own imminent death, as the last lines of the text read, "The dear earth everywhere blossoms in spring and grows green anew. Everywhere and forever blue is the horizon. Forever, forever." And then the music slowly fades away to nothing. Thank you for watching. Come celebrate life, the beauty of nature, and Mahler as we play the unforgettable The Song of the Earth.